and they can probably speak better than me. Like my wife can speak better than me. But a lot of, I want to say a lot, maybe half the Filipino Americans that I meet don't know anything about, can't understand anything, even the simple words.
Do you think you'll look differently being a Filipino, that you don't know how to speak your native tongue?
I think not over here. I think definitely when I visit the Philippines, a lot of people can't understand why. I have an American accent, they're just not exposed to that, I guess. Sometimes they even think though that I may not be full Filipino, which I am. So it just throws them completely off when they see like a Hawaiian, Japanese looking guy speaking American, and then when he tries to speak Tagalog, it's all messed up, and they ask me to stop because my accent hurts their ears.
Did they teach you any different when you spoke accent Tagalog, or were they
in the Philippines?
Yeah, in the Philippines.
Oh yeah, they definitely treated me different. So after high school, I moved to Manila for a year to go to UST, and that was an interesting experience because I'd never gone to school there. I never really stayed in Philippines for that long.
Why did you go to school in the Philippines?
Oh, my mom and stepfather moved back for business reasons to the Philippines, and I was only like 17, 18, so I followed them. But I quickly realized that that while that is a culture that they're very familiar with, I couldn't adapt to it, even though I tried. Things like me not being used to, I'd say, unclean air. There's a lot of smog, and just the impact to your daily life. And then, of course, the language barrier. Even though I could understand mostly everything, you never can relate to someone on that more personal level because there's a gap in body language or just cultural gap, and I could never feel intimate.
Being in the Philippines, did you notice any difference? Like, what was the difference between living in the United States and living in the Philippines? As far as I'm concerned, I want to know basically, like, your family, like were they different towards you, like over here, or I mean, like back in the Philippines, like were they different towards you because you were American born?
My family that lives there now. Yeah, they
treat you special because you were American born, or?
I would say that they're obviously excited because they haven't seen you in a while, but yeah, they treat you differently because I don't know if it was a feeling of, well, first of all, they're very, they're just very friendly, especially if it's your family, right? But I would say they treated me differently because they wanted to make sure that I was acclimating, right, and that I was, okay with the climate change and food change, and just very attentive, overly attentive, I would say.
Were you able to make friends easily in the Philippines, or were they kind of resenting you because you were like American, basically from America?
Yeah. So at UST, University of St. Thomas, I did make friends there, but like I said earlier, the language barrier, I would call them more acquaintances because some of them, their English wasn't that good, so we would communicate mainly through body language sometimes, but we would still hang out, like we would still be friends, but you can't fully communicate, and so you can't be that close to them, as close as you want to be, because sometimes you can't understand each other.
How was life in the Philippines? I mean, since you moved from the United States to the Philippines, was it a dramatic change, or?
Oh yeah, it's a change I couldn't adapt to. It only lasted a year. And that guy, when I applied to that college, the guy even told me that it's very common, and he called it the rubber band theory or something like that. And I was like, what is that? He's like, well, before we accept you here, I want to make sure that you're not one of those rubber band Filipino Americans where you apply here, and but what I mean about, and this is what he said, what I mean about rubber band is, you're stretching yourself here, and then you bounce back to the U.S. And I was like, oh no, that won't be me. But then that was obviously me. It was like, I'm out of here, because you know, it was just way too hot. I don't like it that hot. And you jump out of a shower, sometimes you're already sweating, and it was the air quality really sucked.